Hi, my name's Rue. It's Veronica, but I go by Rue. And I'm here today because I kind of just need to talk. I need to talk to someone, but I don't feel like I have anyone to talk to right now in my life, or at least not in this sense. And I'm hoping that this will help me work through some thoughts that I have or have been having for some time, for the past few years. Okay, welcome to my self-talk, I guess. I don't know if anyone's actually going to be seeing this, so it doesn't really matter, I guess, how I address this. The thing I want to talk about is basically just some feelings and thoughts I've been having for past few months. For the record, I am 21 now, and I have been dealing with some hard feelings and issues, mental health issues for past like 8-ish years, I guess, which sounds pretty awful when I hear myself say that out loud, but yeah, it would be about 8-ish years. It hasn't been like bad the whole time. There was a lot of time where I was just kind of feeling about everything, but I wasn't like very down. There was a period when I was feeling very down. That was when I was like 14 to 16-ish, I think. That was the worst part of it. I'm smiling because it's something I have worked through on my own, and it's something I have come to terms with for the most part. I don't really think about it anymore. It's just a period of my life. I'm sorry, I just feel like I'm looking crazy. It's just a period of my life that happened, and I've done the best I could to deal with it and to work through it. I have been doing the work and trying to heal myself for past few years, and I am in a much better place now, definitely, and I'm so grateful for that, for the fact that I made it through. I made it through the worst parts and the darkest days, which isn't to say that now everything is just rainbows and unicorns. It's definitely not the case, but that's not realistic anyway, because life isn't always just up. Sometimes you just have to kind of come down for a bit to gain some perspective. And yeah, I just I came to terms with some things, and the lows, the coming down, is not as low as it used to be, which is a win, and win is a win, so we take it, at least around here. But why I'm talking to the camera today on my own in my room in English, which is not my first language, as you probably can tell, because I guess I do have an accent, even though I obviously can't really hear it, but I'm aware that I don't sound like a native speaker, probably. So yeah. The reason why I am speaking English and not in my first language is for, well, one part of it is the fact that maybe if I post this eventually, someday, possibly, then, and if I post this and if it is helpful in some way, maybe it will be able to reach more people and help more people, or just yeah, just kind of spread some awareness, I guess. And the second part of it is the fact that English being my second language kind of makes it easier for me a little to talk about it, because when I speak English, it's a bit it will sound weird now, and I'm aware of it, but it sounds less real, I think, talking about it in English, because the emotions and the whole processing just isn't as raw, I guess. It isn't raw per se, either way, because, as I said, it has been a long time, and this is something I have been just living with and working through for quite a while. So it's not raw, even if I was talking in my native language, but talking about it in English makes me feel, I guess, safer. For one part, it's because, as I said, it just makes it feel less real. The second part is that if someone overhears me, they won't understand anyway. So it's a bit of a self-protective mechanism right now. So that being said, I would like to apologize if I make any mistakes while speaking, because, as I said, it's not my first language, and I'm aware that there might be some mistakes, even though my English is technically supposed to be good, kind of. But that's not important right now. Yeah, so from the age about 13 to 14-ish, I started having some darker moments and darker thoughts, and I kind of closed off to the world, and kept to myself a lot. That's not to say that I would like safe isolate or just lie in bed and do nothing. Definitely not. I was very, very high functioning all the years that I dealt with the heaviness of it. But when I didn't have to perform and be the person I was supposed to be and that everyone expected me to be, I was feeling very, very low and very lonely and sad. And there was a period of time when I really lacked any motivation to keep going in every sense of the word. That was kind of terrifying, but also kind of calming in a sense. To start from the beginning, I started having these feelings when, as I said, when I was about 14 years old. I dealt back then. I was dealing with a lot of insecurity in myself, not in my life. In my life, things have had have been pretty secure and pretty stable, kind of in the same way my whole life. There's nothing that would be unstable or uncertain in that sense. I always was safe in my environment and stable and completely fine. The thing that wasn't fine was me. And I dealt with a lot of insecurity and feelings of, I guess, not being enough, self-deprecating thoughts. I didn't have any confidence or trust in myself for quite a few years. Because I just never felt good enough to deserve being confident. Yeah, I didn't feel good enough to deserve feeling confident, being confident, and feeling like I had the right to be confident and motivated and just happy, just to be a normal teenager as I was supposed to. Or I thought I was supposed to. I don't really know why it happened, because I did have friends. I wasn't like excluded from my peers, classmates, collective, and just the social group I was supposed to belong to. I kind of worked and I was flowing through it, but I didn't feel like I was part of it either. I felt very alone and very isolated, even though I had people I was calling my friends, and I wasn't being bullied, I wasn't made fun of, uh, or anything like that. But I didn't feel accepted either. A big part of it was because I wasn't really being expressive. I wasn't really being myself. Um, I was very closed off, as I said, and very self-isolating in a sense. I kept to myself. I didn't talk much to anyone. I didn't have any need or desire to associate with other people and just kind of work on my relationships and make friendships and so on, because I was feeling so unworthy of anything in life, um, which is I can't tell what the cause was really, because I was feeling unworthy because I didn't feel like I had any of it, but I didn't have any of it because I was feeling unworthy of it. So it was kind of a vicious vicious cycle, and I wasn't able to see a way out of it for a long time. So I just lived with it, kind of, and I thought that it didn't matter because I was used to being on my own, and I was used to dealing with everything on my own and not talking to anyone, not really trusting anyone. Um, I did a lot of journaling, and I had other like coping mechanisms. I I'm a big fan of fiction. I have always loved to read, and I did that a lot. I still do, but for healthier reasons now. At least I, at least compared to the past, they are healthier. Um, I wrote some uh, rhymes, poems. I wrote songs, and I kept journals, or I tried to keep journals, a lot of them. But I always kind of started and then stopped for a bit and then started again. So I wasn't being very, yeah, I can't think of the word right now. But I guess you know what I mean. I just uh, wasn't very dedicated to actually keeping a journal and trying to help myself kind of work through the way I was feeling with that. But I tried. I did. I really did. um, the funny thing is that the times when I was able to do the writing and the coping and all the like want to be healthy things that the internet said that might help me feel better. Uh, I was able to do them only uh, in the periods when it wasn't that bad, or it was the better of the bad. When I was at my lowest, I couldn't even think of like trying to write how I was feeling or pour a rhyme out of me. That was no impossible, unthinkable for me to do because I just didn't have the energy. I didn't have the energy to deal with anything. All of my energy was taken up by trying to keep up appearances and um, kind of pretend that I was okay. And I did that very well. I did that very, very well because no one knew, no one noticed. I tried not to question whether it was because they were not looking or they just didn't want to see it. Because either of those options um, is not very good and it's not something I want to acknowledge. Especially since I was as young as I was. And there were people who were supposed to care for me and who I think were supposed to kind of notice something at least. Like, I'm not saying they could know everything and, just that they could tell that it was as bad as it was. But how do you not know for so many years? Or maybe I'm just a fucking good actress. Um, sorry, it's not funny. I know it's not funny, but I do joke about it now because what else am I going to do? I can't like complain and cry about it my whole life. So as I said, I have come to terms with it, and it doesn't hurt anymore. I don't like the way I feel about it is that the part of me that was struggling that bad and that was just sad all the time and unmotivated and that didn't plan for a future because there wasn't supposed to be one after a certain age. That part of me that hurt herself just to kind of relieve the pain she was feeling inside, and that the part of me that didn't see any possible way out of that, uh, any possible way to stop feeling like that, like the way she did. Um, I I remember her. I remember her very well, and I will never forget her because it it was a long time, and it kind of it kind of still is uh, just a large chunk of my life because uh, it's years and years of my life that I remember. I had childhood when I was happy, uh, very expressive, very loud, very very outgoing kid, um, very talkative. Um, so that was a part of my life, And then when I started school and kind of got into the classes and new uh, environments, I changed. Uh, I changed a lot. I uh, I kind of tried to dim myself down because I was too much, or I felt like I was, and that's also why I kind of kept to myself, because I couldn't really be myself truly without getting picked at, getting called a nerd, and that just isn't something you want when you are 10, 11, 12, 13. It's not something you want at all when you're a kid. You don't want to feel as the odd one out. So I avoided any possibility of that happening, and I avoided it by being quiet and just going with the motions, which, looking back at it, obviously wasn't the best thing I could do. Because it led me to kind of forget about myself and about the parts of myself that used to be so happy and expressive, and the parts I used to like. So I was living with that closed off, keeping to myself, and in addition to that, my camera died. But in addition to that, I was so unhappy because I wasn't being myself, and it hurt me. It was hurting me um, to make myself be someone I wasn't, and it was very exhausting to keep on a mask for my whole like existence. Basically, I was keeping on a mask when I was at school. I was keeping on a mask when I was at home in front of my family, because I didn't want them to know. I didn't want them to notice anything, because I didn't want to. I didn't want to bother anyone with how I was feeling, and I also was ashamed for it, for the thoughts I was having, and for the way I felt, because on one hand I felt so bad, and I had all those dark, dark thoughts in my head, and I wished I could just stop everything, stop being. And on the other hand, I judged myself for it, because I also, or a part of me, was very, very judgmental and angry. And there was just this voice that kept telling me I had no right to feel like that. I had no right, I had no reason to feel like that, because I had a family, I had perspective. I had a life, and I was doing pretty well on paper. I was acing my classes. I was smart. I had some friends. It didn't matter that I didn't really trust them or that I didn't feel like they were my friends, but I had some friends. I had hobbies, and I was just going through the motions. So I was very, okay, maybe not very successful, but I was successful enough on paper. But I really, really didn't feel that way. And I didn't want any of it. I wanted to be happy. Or I wished I could have been. I didn't feel like it was possible for me. And I didn't think I would get better. So I had a plan to just go with it as long as I had to, till I was kind of on my own in the world. And then I wouldn't have to deal with anything anymore. And sometimes I wished I had someone to talk to about it. Because, yeah, maybe it would have helped me to have someone to talk to. Someone who would have told me that it is possible to get better. Uh, that it, someone who would have told me that the fact that I feel like this was not my fault, and that I didn't deserve to feel like that. That I didn't deserve any of it. But we don't always get what we deserve. And we don't always get what we want. So I didn't have that. And I learned to deal with it on my own, in my own ways. Lucky for me, since I was very judgmental about even feeling the way I did, I was even more judgmental about physically doing anything about it. So I haven't physically done a lot about it to cope. There were a few incidents, but none of them were too bad. Or obviously it was bad, but it could have been worse, so I guess it wasn't that bad. And I, even back then, I felt very, very ashamed about it, about the feelings, and then even more about the doings, because I knew on a certain level that it wasn't right, and that it wasn't actually like helping anything to switch one pain for another. But it did bring me a bit of a temporary, very, very temporary outlet at that time. And I thought that since it wasn't visible and no one knew anyway, that it didn't really matter. And it wouldn't matter in the future as well. So even though I was judging myself and I was ashamed, I also kind of reasoned with myself about it and rationalized it. And yeah, it was long and it was dark. But after a while, uh, when I finished elementary and I started high school, so about like 2 years of better and worse parts of this, I kind of realized that I was growing very, very tired and sick of feeling like that. And I realized that I do deserve better, that I did deserve better the whole time. And most importantly, I kind of gave up. Well, not, yeah, I guess I could say that I gave up. I gave up because I knew that there was no one coming to save me. And also, since I didn't really have any hope for the future, I felt like I had nothing to lose, which was kind of a key element, because I started high school. I got into a new environment where it was possible for me to kind of reinvent myself, I guess. It was possible to get out of the idea of who I am that I was living with for the past years. And I was able to start fresh, in a sense. And even though I did still feel sad and I had the idea of not continuing in the back of my mind, I kind of decided to give it a shot and to try through the 4 years I was supposed to have left. Um, and that's when the work work well, it was work, it was emotional work. That's when it started, because as I said, I realized that there was no one there was no one coming to save me, and if I wanted to try, I had to do it myself. And most importantly, I had to do it for myself and not for anyone else. And so kind of started trying slowly, very, very slowly. And for a bit, it was a lot of one step forward, two steps back, uh, kind of kind of journey, because I didn't really know what I was doing. And so I tried researching. I the internet became my best friend for that bit, because I knew that the first thing I had to work on was my sense of self and my non-existing self-confidence at that time. So that's what I did. I researched how to get confident, how to be confident, how to get better at these things. And I read so many forums and articles, tips, and watched so many like self discovery and self development videos that I can't even count them. And it was just a way for me to try, to start trying. And I started to come back to myself. Um, I learned the term inner child, and that there was such thing as healing it and working through inner wounds, older older and deeper wounds. And so I tried to come back to that part of myself, to think back to the very first part of my life, when I used to be happy and motivated and expressive and excited. And I tried to find the parts which I was lacking back then, and when I was 16, 17. What was a blessing in disguise for me on this part was the coronavirus and the lockdowns, because suddenly I had so much free time to spend with myself and with my thoughts, which used to be a curse when I was at my worst, because my head wasn't a good place to be. But since I was trying to get better, it gave me the space to do so, because I was forced to spend time in isolation, on my own, with my head, with my thoughts, with the parts of myself that I hated, that I despised, the parts that I was so angry with and ashamed of, which was most of them. Back then, it was almost everything about me. And on the other hand, it gave me space to dig up the parts that I liked and that I didn't think were bad or worthy to be ashamed of. I got back to a lot of my hobbies that I used to have. I got back to the things that were making me happy. And I felt calm. I felt a lot calmer in that isolation period than I had in the time before. I still researched a lot about the getting your self-worth back and growing confidence and how to work on yourself and stuff like that. And I tried to implement the things I learned. And I didn't feel like it was working for a long time. For a long time, it felt like I was pushing against a brick wall, and the wall just wasn't going to move ever. And it was a bit frustrating because I didn't know what else to do or how to do better. Because I felt like I had no other option than to do it alone. I still didn't trust anyone around me to help me through it. I still didn't have the money to pay someone to help me through it. And yeah, so I was on my own with it. So it was a lot of back and forth, as I said. But eventually, I started to like myself again. I acknowledged the things that I was proud of. I was proud of myself for the things that I was able to work through and move past. And I realized that the biggest part of my issue, my loneliness and the isolation I felt, was something that could be worked with and worked through, and that it was something I can fight. I didn't fight it with trying to meet new people or make more friends or be more social. I fought it with befriending it, coming to terms with it, and I kind of found a way to get comfortable in my own company, because once I got to my head and my mind, my thoughts, to stop hating me, my life kind of, everything just kind of got much calmer and quieter. So I learned to live in the quiet, in the aloneness. It wasn't loneliness anymore, because I realized that I didn't actually need anyone to be with me if I was able to be myself first. So my loneliness and isolation became aloneness and just solitude. Very neutral solitude. And I started to be my friend, be my own friend again, to rediscover myself, get back to the things I liked, and discover new things for myself. I worked on my beliefs and the confidence. I started going to places alone because I realized you don't need to have friends or anyone to accompany you to actually live. That you can just live if you decide to. You don't need anyone. So I started with going to the movies alone for the first time ever. And I sat in the almost empty cinema that first evening. And it was great. It was great. I had an amazing time because I was with myself. I was happy. I was on my own schedule. And I was in the cinema enjoying a movie that I liked. And it was so fucking great. Once I was able to move past the judgment I had against being alone and doing things by myself, when I realized that there was no one else judging me for sitting in a cafe alone or going to the movie alone. There's no one judging me but myself. No one cares. No one actually cares. No one has time to care or acknowledge that, oh, she's going to the movies alone. What a loser. Yeah. So I was. So what? And no one cares. I just cared too much. And I was too afraid to realize it sooner. So then, after that experience, I felt liberated. I felt so so much more freedom than I did before, because I realized that maybe I could do it. Maybe the fact that I have been alone my whole life, the fact that I have been alone my whole life isn't the end of the world, and that maybe I deserved to be happy, that I did deserve to experience good things for myself and actually try and give myself a chance to experience them. So I started to try and push my limits. I started with the movies, and then I just went about my life, and I started to be more mindful of what I was thinking, of how I was talking to myself, and I started to be more gentle with myself and to care, because that's what I deserve. I deserve someone who cares about me, and I deserve to be that person for myself. And that's where we're at. uh, I try, I care, and I remind myself that I'm okay, that I will be okay. Uh, I try and work on my confidence still, because it still can get better. This is part of it, because for a long time I was afraid of being seen, uh, afraid of being judged because of being seen. And this is a way for me to move past that. When I post um, on social media, when I post videos, um, covers, anything, doesn't really matter what it is. What matters is the thought behind it, which is to share, to put myself out there in the world, even if no one actually sees it. It's about the possibility of being seen, about the possibility of someone being judgmental, because maybe someone will see this and watch this, even though I guess they wouldn't watch this long, just to judge me and be hateful. But it's possible. It's possible that someone does, and it's possible that someone thinks, "Oh my God, she's so cringe, crazy, silly, embarrassing. What is she even talking about? Who does she think she is to be here talking about this stuff, or posting herself singing?" If you see any other videos of mine, I did post some covers because I love to sing. I love music, and it's something that makes me happy, and it makes me happy to share that. It's one of the things that I didn't do for a long time. I used to sing a lot as a kid, all the time, and I have loved music ever since I was little. I have listened to music almost, I think, every day of my life, and it's something that makes me happy, that brings me joy. And for a long time, I didn't do that. I didn't sing. Uh, I didn't care for it because what was the point? If I wasn't going to be like a singer, if I wasn't to be, if I wasn't going to be famous and successful with it, then what was the point of doing it? That's what I thought. And now I came back. I came back to it because I am the point. I am the point. I do it because it makes me happy. And that's the point. That's the only reason you need in life to do anything. If it makes you happy and it doesn't hurt anyone else, then what's the harm? And that's something that took me a very long time to realize. And that's why I'm here and I'm talking about it because I think it's important to talk about it. And I know that there's million and one videos on the internet and 3,000 people talking about the same thing. But that's fine. That's okay because it can be said enough times. And it's important to talk about it because you don't owe anyone anything. The only person you should be making happy is yourself. Because that's what we all deserve, to be happy with ourselves. And yeah, that's basically it. That's why I started doing the things that make me happy again. And I'm trying to enjoy them and find joy in life, in the small things, and having a good cup of tea in the morning, and to be happy that I have a great life, that I'm healthy, that I'm able to study, to talk to people, to meet new people, that I'm able to experience things, that I'm able to meet and make new connections, that I'm able to help someone, maybe, possibly, even if it to help them with their English, because I tutor English nowadays as a part-time job, and it's great. I love it that I can see the progress someone is making thanks to the fact that we are having our lessons and that we are working on the issues they have, possibly. To see someone gain confidence speaking a new language, it's amazing. And I realized that I do really love people, even though not all people are good and not all people are reasonable all the time. But that's something I also had to come to terms with that I can't let that affect me. And I learned to have compassion and feel for others. I think that the fact that I went through the stuff I did go through is a big part of why I learned to to be compassionate. So I am even on some level grateful for learning the things that I did through the journey that I had. I obviously am not happy or grateful, really, that it happened the way it did. And I wouldn't wish that to anyone ever, because no one deserves that. No one deserves to feel that way, to even have a single one of the thoughts that I had experienced. But I can't deny that it did help me become someone who understands, uh, a lot of feelings and motivations of different people. So I am grateful for that in the sense. And I just hope that if anyone actually sees this and watches it all the way through, that I don't know, I guess that it gives you some sense of hope, because from my experience, hope and being able to trust in yourself and to be able to truthfully tell yourself that as long as I have me, I'm fine, is the biggest gift that you can receive in your life. It's the biggest gift you can give to yourself. And that's it. Because you are the only person you should be living for. Because you deserve it. We all do. And I know that it's hard sometimes to see that. And sometimes we don't want to hear that our life is just ours, because we want someone to blame. We want someone to take the responsibility for us. But no one will ever. No one is going to. And that's the thing. Like, it's all about perspective, which I know sounds very cheesy and it sounds just like a phrase, and I despise these phrases. I despise the, oh, it's a matter of perspective, you just have to think about it differently, and oh, you just need to shift your focus and you need to focus on the good things in life and stuff like that. The stuff that you hear all around when someone is trying to cheer you up. What sucks is that it's true. And yeah, it really sucks. And if you're feeling as down as I was, or less, it doesn't have to be that bad, obviously. But sometimes we just don't want to hear them. We don't want to acknowledge that it's just our choice to feel how we feel. And it's okay if you need to be sad for a bit. Be sad. Yeah? Sit. Watch a sad movie. Cry. Scream. Be angry. Punch a wall. But don't let it eat you. Don't let it suffocate you the way it did me for a while there. Because it's not worth it. It's not worth it. You always have yourself. And because you do, you always have something to hold on to and a reason to keep going. Because it can get better. Yes, sometimes it sucks. And yes, sometimes it takes a lot. And it's not easy. It's not fun. It's hard. And it will make you feel like you want to rip your hair out sometimes. That's just the truth. But you are worth it. Your hope and your life is worth it. And that is the only reason you need. Yeah. um, I really don't know what's the purpose of this. I just felt like I needed to say it, to put this out there. So maybe there's something in this that that resonates with you. I hope it doesn't. Most of it, I hope it doesn't. I hope that maybe some parts do, that they are useful in some way. But yeah. That's it. That's my message. If you did watch this all the way through, thank you. Thank you so much for sticking around. And if anyone actually sees this, feel free to share, to tell me about your experience, or any ideas, anything you would like to add to the discussion, any of your personal motivations. Share your dreams. Yeah, that's all from me. Thank you.